I will. Don't tell him, I'll surprise him.
Okay, good. Hi, Linda.
Hi there. Did I just hear Art whistling?
Yes. Hi,
Yes.
Linda.
How you doing, kiddo?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm, things change at City Hall. I just went in to print something and the printer was out of paper and I don't know where they keep the paper anymore.
Uh-oh.
I leave and bingo, everything changes.
That's so funny. All right, I got 2 o'clock. I'm gonna get this thing rocking and rolling if everyone's good.
Oh,
I
that
would like
sounds
to call the Board and Budget and Finance Committee meeting to order at 2 p.m. Thank you for joining the Board and Budget and Finance Committee meeting today. This is Wednesday, September 1st. Before we begin today's business, please ensure that you are in a quiet environment with no background. Everyone here knows the drill. Please mute your device until called upon. Joan, please read the special notice.
On March 4, 2020, Governor Newsom proclaimed a state of emergency in California as a result of the threat of COVID-19. Public gatherings are to be limited. On March 18, 2020, Governor Newsom temporarily suspended the Brown Act requirements pertaining to telephonic conferencing of local government meetings and the requirement to have at least one physical location available to the public for purposes of attending the meeting. Further, on June 11, 2021, Governor Newsom extended the temporary suspension of the Brown Act requirements through September 30, 2021. As such, RTA has opted to conduct the September 1, 2021 Budget and Finance Committee meeting via teleconference.
Thank you. Moving right along to self-introductions. For today's meeting, we will take roll call. Will the clerk please take roll call?
Jeremy Smith, City of
Here.
Canyon Lake. Ray S.J. Santos, City of Beaumont.
Here.
Linda Molina, City of Calamasa.
Here.
Art Welch, County of Riverside, District 5.
Here,
Linda Krupa, City of Hemet.
Here.
Timothy J. Sheridan, City of Lake Elsinore.
Here.
Ted Hoffman, City of Norco.
Here.
Bridget Moore, City of Wildomar.
Here.
Andrea Mars, County of Riverside, District 3.
Here.
Chair Smith, you have a quorum. Members,
Thank you
please
so much.
remember.
Sorry I interrupted you. As she said, please remember to remove your devices. Would you please take attendance of RTA staff?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Larry Rubio.
here,
Charlie Ramirez.
Here.
Tom Franklin.
Here.
Laura Camacho.
Here.
Natalie Zaragoza. Here. Kristen Warsinski. Here. Rick Kazarowski.
Here.
Jim Neekins.
Here.
Melissa Blankenship.
Here.
Stephanie Searles.
Here.
Robert Fernandez.
here,
Albert Jimenez.
Here.
Brad Weaver.
Here.
Yesenia Felix.
Here.
Thank you.
Perfect. Moving right along is item 3, public comments. This is for non-agenda items. Will the clerk please read the directions for the public comments?
Members of the public may address the board regarding any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. However, no action may be taken on off-agenda items unless authorized by law. Comments shall be limited to matters not listed on the agenda. Members of the public may comment on any matter listed on the agenda at the time that the board considers that matter. Each person's presentation is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Perfect. Has the clerk received any requests in writing?
Yes, Chair Smith, I received a request from Keith White, who has asked his comment be read by staff.
Perfect. Will you please read Keith's comment?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, committee members. I have a couple of funny bus stories. While I was riding the bus last month, I ran into Director Bridget Moore in downtown Riverside at University in Lemon. I had just come back from church and I was waiting for the Route 29 to go home. She took a picture of her and I together. Now here's another story. On Saturday, August 28th, I went to a KOLA radio event at a new AM/PM on Van Buren and Andrew. The bus stop was right smack in front of my COLA radio event. I used to work for AM/PM and happened to see my old boss. He didn't recognize me because I have lost weight. A couple of RTA drivers had told me I don't take the Route 10, but I told them, never underestimate a regular bus rider, as you never know where I will pop up. When I caught the Route 3 at the Transit Center that evening, I was the only one on the bus all the way to Eastville. You never know who you might run into. It is a small world out there after all. Thank you for your time. Be safe out there. Sincerely yours, Keith White, RTA rider and bus advocate.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else on the line that would like to make comments on items not listed on the agenda? All right, hearing no more, the public comment portion for items not listed on the agenda is now closed. Moving right along, we have item number 4, which is approval of minutes, and this is back from the July 7th, 2021 Budget and Finance Committee meeting. Does anyone have any comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Thank you, Art.
Second, Calamasa.
Perfect. Thank you, Linda. Are there any noes? Any abstentions? All right, the motion passed. Moving along, next is item 5. This is cash flow projections. Charlie Ramirez, you are up.
Chair Smith, members of the committee, my name is Charlie Ramirez, Chief Financial Officer for the agency. The schedule attached to the staff report presents the actual cash performance for the agency through mid-August, followed by a projection of weekly cash activity through October of this year. This is a period that covers the first 4 months of fiscal year 2022. We are in good shape cash flow wise, mostly due to receiving our local transportation fund allocation in the first half of this fiscal year, as well as making good use of the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA funds. This was part of the last COVID stimulus. I am pleased to report that there are no anticipated cash flow issues during the reporting period, and that completes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members on this? Any questions from the public? Perfect. This is receive and file. Moving right along. Item number 6, quarterly investment report. Charlie, this is yours again. You might as well get a bottle of water because the next 3 are yours. So,
Thank you, Chair. The table attached to this staff report presents the agency's investment performance for the quarter ending June 30th, 2021. The performance for the quarter was positive, netting the agency approximately $35,000. As a reminder, agency investments are driven by the criteria outlined in the board-approved investment policy, which puts forth 3 primary criteria as it relates to investments. As a reminder, in order of importance, they are 1, the preservation of principal, or as to not take on risky investments with a significant potential for losses. 2, to maintain liquidity to be able to fund daily operations. And 3, to earn a maximum rate of return given the constraints of criteria 1 and 2. Sorry, I lost my thought there for a second. The agency will continue to monitor its investment portfolio to ensure that it complies with the board-approved investment policy. Thank you, and that completes my presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Charlie. Are there any questions from committee members?
I have a question, Jeremy.
Absolutely, Linda.
And, you know, I've been on RTA board for 10 years now, and I've never asked this question, but is RTA governed by the same state investment policies that municipalities are?
Yes, I mean, we must follow the state guidelines unless the agencies are more restrictive, which they are not necessarily, but yes, we must follow those same rules.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I've seen this every quarter since I've been on, and because we're going through some changes at the city of Hemet and making some changes to our investment policy. And I was just curious whether or not RTA was governed by that same policy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Any other questions? Any questions from the public? All right, this is once again a receive and file. For those of you following along, we're on item number 7. This is quarterly natural gas procurement status report. Charlie, you are up.
Thank you. The agency uses natural gas to power its 40-foot directly operated bus fleet. Prior to 2013, we purchased that natural gas from the Southern California Gas Company, which you all know is the region's natural gas utility provider. Starting in 2013, we began purchasing our natural gas from a third party, GHI. Why? Not only does GHI provide natural gas at a discount from the index Southern California gas rate, but they also provide revenue stemming from the sale of RINs and LCFS credits. RINs and LCFS credits are the federal and state programs, respectively, that provide marketable credits for the use of natural gas as an alternative fuel source. In addition, the agency earns federal excise tax or FET credits for the use of natural gas. Attached to the staff report are 4 graphs that depict various areas of the natural gas program. To summarize those, the agency experienced cost savings of $22,000 for the quarter by purchasing natural gas from GHI and earned nearly $680,000 in revenue from RINs, LCFS, and FET credits. When you take the discounted cost of the gas that we use and you roll that together with the revenue that we earned for using that gas, the agency actually achieved a net cost of a negative $280,000, which basically means we were paid $280,000 for the gas we used to fuel our buses, which is quite remarkable. And that completes my presentation.
Thank you so much. Any questions from committee members?
Commissioner, Chairman, I do. This is Ted Hoffman from Norco.
Of course, Ted, go ahead.
Charlie, on this contract, I see, is this a 5-year contract or is this longer than that? And the only reason I ask that is with the state and CARB, and they're pushing for the removal of all fossil fuels. How long do you think we're going to be before we have to be all electric or hydrogen?
Well, it is a 5-year contract. We're just beginning year 4. And this year, as well as next year, would be option years. As far as converting to electric, we do have the zero emission bus rollout plan, which the board did adopt in December, which basically puts forth our plan to convert to hydrogen fuel cell electric. So there is a plan that does comply with CARB's guidelines that we do have in place and we're moving toward. In a second, we'll talk about the capital status, which does include buying the additional 70 CNG buses, which is part of that plan to extend natural gas.
Okay, I saw this 5. I didn't know if we had an extension for this 5, but I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ted. Any other questions? Any questions from the public on this? Once again, this is a received and filed. Moving along, this is item 8, quarterly capital status. Charlie, once again.
All right, 1 second. Let me share my screen here.
You're fine.
All right, can everybody see this slide deck?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you again, Chair. It's hard to believe another quarter has gone by. The summer is gone and here we are looking at the fall, but let's do a quarterly
Wow.
capital status update. In terms of board authorizations and approvals over the summer timeframe, the board did authorize an award to Toller Manufacturing to build 25 bus shelters. This is really an ongoing project that never ends. We're constantly getting in new bus shelters and deploying them either to replace existing shelters or put them in new locations. Part of our effort to continue our high expectations when it comes to image. We also authorized an award to Specialty Flooring to replace the epoxy floors in maintenance buildings. We did talk about that a little last time. Not a very glamorous project, but one very necessary in terms of keeping our maintenance folks in a safe environment, as well as keeping their areas back there in a tip-top shape. The outlook for the fall, we will seek the board authorization to install 7 AHSC bus shelters, which is affordable housing and sustainable communities. These are 7 shelters that are tied to a specific grant. They will be new shelters, mostly along the university corridor. We will also seek board authorization to replace the wireless local area network, the WLAN. It's been 5 or 6 years since that has been replaced. We all know how fast technology changes. We also want to expand our access points to some further parts of the bus yard, which will help with the download of data that comes off of our buses. And lastly, we'll seek board authorization. We know we did acquire the well site. We're putting the finishing touches on the design. We want to move forward in the construction side, and we want to get a competent construction manager in here to oversee the Vine Street Mobility Hub project. Jumping over to vehicles accomplishments over the June to August timeframe, we did issue that RFP for the purchase of the 70 new CNG buses. Again, what this is really about is part of the zero emission bus rollout plan approved by the board to extend the technology of CNG, allowing hydrogen markets to mature for them to iron out the kinks. So this is really important. We do expect to get those proposals back here in about a week. And our plan, at least at this time, is to come back to the board probably in the early winter with that presentation. We did develop a scope of work for the new farebox RFP. This was fully funded through the FY22 budget. We know it's been about 10 and mostly 20 years since we have replaced our fareboxes. We want to get some new equipment and technology in here that we think will improve the customer experience and our on-time performance. We also purchased electric vehicles some time ago. This is part of our continuing effort to reduce our carbon footprint. However, we weren't able to deploy them due to COVID protocols, but we do have these fully deployed now based on the August service change, and everything's up and running on that front. The outlook for the fall, we will analyze those proposals for the CNG bus purchase and come back to you. And we will issue an RFP for the new fare boxes. Looking at the transit and operations facilities, what did we accomplish over the summer? We did replace solar batteries on some of the lighting in the Moreno Valley Mall parking lot, as well as we swapped out concrete for the asphalt. The asphalt wasn't holding up well to our bus tires, so concrete will look better and be a little bit more of a sturdier solution. We did replace 2 HVAC units, one in Riverside and one in Hebbet, to keep those facilities in a state of good repair. We completed the refurbishment of 16 shelters throughout the system. Refurbishment is primarily removing that shelter, taking it back somewhere, sandblasting it, painting it, giving it a refresh, and reinstalling it. At Corona, we put some new paint there. It really looks great, a little bit of a darker blue, so that looks refreshed and new. The outlook for the fall, we will complete that epoxy floor replacement in the maintenance buildings. Also, for those of you that have been to our RTA headquarters, we do have a concrete sign out in front that's been there for many, many years. We do want to replace it with a little bit of a newer, sleeker design. So we look to do that in the next quarter. We have a CNG station here that is very seldomly used due to procedural and safety concerns. We do want to decommission that and put it down. Lastly, we want to install a fence between the lower and upper parking lots. There is a little bit of a drop off in these lots, and for safety considerations, we do want to protect our employees, so we plan to put a fence in there. Jumping over to IT over the summer, we did commence the project to replace the firewall web proxy. Again, this will be a protection, obviously, to our systems and our equipment from web traffic. We did issue the RFP for the replacement and the expansion of the WLAN we talked about a minute ago. The outlook for the fall, we will install the speed limit violation notification system on our buses. Again, this is what will notify our dispatchers when a bus is traveling too much beyond the posted speed limit. We want to upgrade our ITS servers and add the bus crowding feature. One of the functions, among others, that this will result in is alerting our customers in a more real-time fashion that will go from 30 seconds to 15 seconds, as well as notify them of oncoming capacity on buses. We will also commence the project to replace the network video recorder NVR system on our buses. This is really the safety and surveillance video system that gives us a bird's eye view into what's going on our buses. And that completes my presentation.
Awesome job. Any questions from committee members? See, Charlie, you knocked it out of the park. No questions, just flying through. Are there any questions from the public?
This is Keith White. Just real quick, if you guys update me on the new fare boxes, please, because I'd like to know how you guys are, what the sign's gonna look like, because there's issues with social transit. I just want to be able to see what fare box will look like. So can somebody email me or at least call me, update me on that information before the next meeting? I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Charlie, I'm sure that's easy to do, right?
Yeah, I can tell you, thanks for the question, Mr. White. I can tell you right now, that scope of work is being developed. We have not committed to any sort of fare box at this point, so we can't tell you what it would look like because we don't even necessarily know that. But I can assure you that we will get you any information that you would like to have based on that as we move forward.
Perfect. Thank you. Item is a receive and file. Moving right along. We are on now item number 9. This is the authorization to award agreement number 21-043 to ND Construction Company for transit enhancements to 7 bus stop locations. Natalie, this one is yours.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chair Smith, members of the committee. My name is Natalie Zaragoza, and I'm the agency's Chief Procurement and Logistics Officer. The item before you today is the award of an agreement with ND Construction for transit enhancements to 7 bus stop locations. On January 24, 2019, the Board Executive Committee authorized staff to enter into an agreement with Wakeland Housing and Development Corporation, also known as Wakeland, to support their grant application to the State Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities, also known as AHSC, for funding for their Mission Heritage Plaza project. Wakeland's project was approved by the City of Riverside in October of 2017, and as a requirement under the grant application, it included a request for funding to upgrade those agency bus stop locations that were located in a 1-mile radius surrounding the project. Those bus stop locations are listed in the attachment to today's agenda on page 21. The agreement between the agency and Wakeland provided that if Wakeland were successful in their grant application, the agency would receive the funds to upgrade the bus stops as identified in the application and again on the attachment. In return for that funding, the agency will be responsible for the oversight of those improvements, provided materials needed by Wakeland to complete the grant application. We will provide service to the Mission Heritage Complex via Route 49 or comparable service, and we will provide mobility training. Responsibilities of Wakeland under that agreement include providing all reporting under the grant as required by the state. Wakeland will also manage a transit subsidy program for the Mission Heritage Complex. This program will provide 71 monthly bus passes on a per-year basis for a 3-year period to the project's low-income tenants. This provides the agency with an amount equal to $191,700 in fare revenue to the agency. Finally, Wakeland will construct and maintain a bus stop on Mission Avenue to be serviced by the agency's bus route 49. This stop has already been reviewed by Riverside Public Works staff. The design and placement was also reviewed by agency staff. This project is a good example of the synergies that can be created through city developer partnerships with the agency. In any event, the grant application was approved on July 8, 2019. Upon receiving notice that the grant had been approved, staff proceeded with issuing the invitation for bids number 21-043 on July 14, 2021. 3 bids were received on August 11, as shown on page 20 of today's agenda. It should be noted that all 7 stops will be upgraded with a new bench, trash receptacle, and shelter, which are the same design as other stops in downtown Riverside. Sufficient funds to cover this item are included in the agency's board-approved capital budget. Based on its careful consideration of the above information, staff is recommending the committee approve and recommend this item to the full board of directors as follows. Authorize staff to award agreement number 21-043 to ND Construction for transit enhancements to 7 bus stop locations in the amount of $110,386.50, with a 10% contingency of $11,038.65, for a total project budget amount of $121,425.15. Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much. Any questions from committee members?
Yeah, Jeremy, just one question.
Yes.
And thank you, Natalie. Good staff report. What was the main cost differential between lowest and highest bidder? I mean, it's like double.
The one was, yes, high. Yes, it was. I didn't do the math exactly, but yes, I think it's on that page there in Ginger, and the high one was 223,000 compared to the low of 110,000.
Correct. What was the main cost factor in that made it so high?
I think it's just their materials. They bid them out to a schedule of values. We've got a very specific schedule of values so that should any change orders be needed, we can then go to that change order and be very precise in the change order cost if they're needed on the project. So it was materials.
Okay, thank you. Good job.
Wow.
Expensive materials like hoverboard past bus stops. So I noticed that too. Any other
Chairman-
questions from committee members?
Yeah, Chairman Smith, if I may, this is
Absolutely.
Ted. And Natalie, correct me, this is a grant and this didn't come out of a development agreement between the city of Riverside and all the agencies. It's more of a grant than anything else.
Correct. So again, back in 2019, RTA and Wakeland we supported the grant application of Wakeland, and it was their grant money, and then they are reimbursing this under that grant application, and then it was successful.
Okay, because a lot of cities and agencies counties use development agreement for to the developer to get things done. And I was just trying to clarify, this is all grant money, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Good question.
Good question.
Did we receive any requests to comment on this item?
No, Chair Smith, I have not.
Okay. Let's see here. Is there anyone on the line that would like to make a comment on this item? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Calamaine moves to approve.
I'll second.
I think I got Calamesa and Beaumont, is that correct?
That is what I got, yes.
I like Ray, he's like, I don't know, it works for me. Okay, perfect. Let's see here. Are there any no's? Any abstentions? All right, the motion has passed.
Good.
Moving right along, item number 10, authorization to award agreement number 21-022. This is for the holding for workers' compensation claims, administration, and managed care services. Natalie, this one's yours as well.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon again. The item before you today is the award of an agreement for third-party administration of the agency's worker compensation claims and its managed care services. At its November 2019 meeting, the board approved an award to Pacific Claims Management for 2 agreements, one for worker compensation claims administration and a second agreement for managed care services. Together, these services comprise the agency's worker compensation program. One very important part of these awards was that both agreements contained a provision requiring a claims adjuster who would work exclusively for the agency under these contracts. It was hoped by staff that this dedicated adjuster would add value to the agency by having personalized attention, which in turn would result in a reduction in claims through the careful review of initial applications and timely medical care, both of which should lower costs to the agency. After a little over a year, this was not the result. In fact, even though the dedicated adjuster was handling less claims than industry standards, the claims were not proactively handled, nor were they resolved quickly, but were allowed to linger on, and as a consequence, costs to the agency under its worker compensation program increased. Early in 2021, staff met and discussed issues of the current provider and the fact that the dedicated claims adjuster requirement of the agreement was not proving successful, with the result being the decision to terminate these 2 agreements at the end of the initial base term and reprocure the services under one contract, both worker compensation claims administration and managed care services being combined into one agreement. Staff's objective in combining these two service types into one agreement and eliminating the requirement for a dedicated claims adjuster should enable the firm to distribute its claim files more efficiently among its pool of claims adjusters, with the result of lower cost to the agency. Therefore, on May 14, 2021, staff issued request for proposal number 21-022, and on June 17, 2021, 9 proposals were received, as shown on page 23 of today's agenda. In accordance with the agency's procurement policy and procedures, an evaluation committee representing staff from purchasing, risk, and human resources evaluated the proposals in accordance with the evaluation criteria of the RFP. 4 firms were chosen to be invited for virtual interviews. At the conclusion of those interviews, specific claims management was excluded from further consideration, and best and final offers were solicited from the remaining 3 firms: Intercare Holdings, Keaton and Associates, and Sedgwick Claims Management. The final pricing submitted by those firms is shown on page 24 of today's agenda. The current agreement with Pacific Claims, their base term expires on December 31 of 2022. Upon board authorization, the current agreement will be terminated early, 1 year early, exact, for the new provider beginning January 1 of 2022. This is next January. It should be noted that the first year of costs from Intercare, beginning in January of 2022, are less than the same costs the agency would be paying to Pacific Claims for the same services. After careful consideration of the technical reviews, the interviews, price analysis, and careful reference checks, the evaluation committee chose Intercare Holdings Insurance as the most technically responsive and responsible vendor, providing the best value to the agency. Sufficient funds for this item are included in the agency's board-approved FY22 operating budget. Funding beyond the current fiscal year will be included in future fiscal year budget requests. Based on its careful consideration of the above information, staff is recommending the committee approve and recommend this item to the full board of directors as follows. Authorize staff to award agreement number 21-022 to Intercare Holdings to provide workers' compensation claims administration and managed care services for a 2-year base period with 3 one-year options for a total of 5 years in an amount not to exceed $849,439.08. Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Natalie, thank you so much. Any questions from committee members? All righty.
Yes, I'm sorry, Jeremy, I do have a question.
Go ahead, Linda.
This is my day for questions. Natalie, is there any prepayment penalty or pre-cancellation penalty for terminating early, basically a year early with Pacific Claims?
No, not at all. The agency's contracts contain a termination for convenience clause, and that's what we'll be doing.
Very good. Awesome work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry, for a good question. Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Sure. I just realized that this year I received a lifetime pension award from a workers' comp claimant with my last employer, the Housing Authority. And they just, every 3 or 4 years, they change claim administrators. And I just realized that Sedgwick is the one that manages my my benefit. It's just, I just get checks from them. Should I abstain on voting on this?
I can jump in. This is Larry Rubio. It probably would be in your best interest to recuse yourself from this vote.
Okay, I will. Thank you. I'm like, why does it sound familiar? Duh.
Thank you, Linda.
Yes.
Good question. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate the stepping in. Have we received any requests or comments on this item?
No, Chair Smith, I have not.
Okay. Is there anyone on the line that would like to make a comment on this item? Again, this is item number 10. Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Wildemar moves.
Thank you.
Norco seconds.
Thank you. Wildemar moves, Norco seconds. Are there any no's? Any abstentions?
Yes, Linda Molina.
All right,
Okay.
Cal Mesa, one abstention. The motion has passed. All right, next is my favorite part, item number 11, board member comments. We have no committee members' birthdays, but staff, we have some birthdays, and that's Laura, Tom, and Charlie. So happy birthday in September. We hope you get blessed and have a phenomenal birthday. Do we have any updates from our chair, Krupa?
None at all. Just everybody enjoy the long weekend coming up and stay safe and stay away from anything that creates fires.
Absolutely. Ray, do we have anything from you, my friend?
Not much, but it's nice to see you guys, around again. And that was a good August, dark August. So I really appreciate that, and I enjoy it. And nice seeing you all. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray. Linda Moline, do you have anything for us?
Actually, I just wanted to say that the Lions Club that I am president of this year is in a joint venture with a vendor group here in the city of Yucaipa. We will benefit from a beer garden from now, every Wednesday from now till December, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So if you happen to be in the Yucaipa area on a Wednesday evening, come on by. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Linda. Timothy and Lake Elsinore, we got anything?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. We're having a farmer's market and craft fair in Lake Elsinore on a regular basis starting this Sunday. It'll be the first and third Sundays at the outlets at Lake Elsinore. The craft fair and farmer's market will take place between 9 and 2, and it's sponsored by a great new business we have in Lake Elsinore called Create Studios. Many of you know our friend Nicole Daly. It's her business. And they're sponsoring this farmer's market. It should be good. We invite you all out, and please invite folks from your cities. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Bridget, you got anything?
Yes, thank you. I want to thank staff. I was driving by on Grand Avenue and saw a bus bench, and the back of it had come off, and I'm not sure, how someone might have fooled with it. But anyway, I noticed it, turned around, went back, took a picture, sent it to Larry, and it was not even 24 hours and the bus bench was fixed. So thank you very much.
That's awesome. District 3.
Hi, nothing to report, but I really did like Bridget's story. Thank you for that.
All right. And District 5.
Yes, I'm glad to see everyone's looking well. I'm glad to see the temperature going down. However, in a week, we'll get another little heat wave, I understand. But I'm just happy to be back. So welcome back, everyone, to the world of bus driving.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Next is item 11, which is our announcements. Larry, do you have anything to announce?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I do have a couple things. Number one, Past Chair Moore, thanks goes to Tom Franklin and his crew on that bench. I forwarded your message to him, and I think I accidentally forwarded it to you before I forwarded that to him, so I returned it to you. But they got right on it, and they got it cleaned up. Our ridership is trending up. We saw a low of about 6,000 just a few months ago. We hit 11,000, and we're hovering around the high 10s, which we got to take, although that's not where we were, but we got to take these little victories and celebrate them until we get back to what normal used to be and create our new world here. And the last two things, I see a couple shirts out there. I recognize Director Santos. You're giving me island longings to go out there. That's a beautiful shirt. And I see, if I believe I'm right, Syracuse Orange Man shirt. So that tells me usually when those college shirts come out, football season's starting. So way to go, Director Sheridan. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rubio. Next is item 13. Our next board meeting and budget and finance will be Wednesday, October 6th, 2021 at 2 p.m. Before I adjourn the meeting, I just want to remind everyone, as we all know, September 11th is coming up. So I'm proud of this group because I know we will never forget. each of you with all your municipalities and where you're at and what you're going to be doing. So let us be remembered of that. At that time, I will adjourn the meeting at 2:38, September 1, 2021. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. Stay safe. Stay cool.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you.
Stay happy.
Linda.